Shotgun with Charlie.
Riding shotgun refers to the practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun, in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie. All right, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Before we start today's episode, I want to say that if you'd like to help support the show, you can get some patches and some stickers at ridingshotgunwithcharlie.com on the shop page. You can also buy shirts there, as well as hoodies and coffee mugs as well. So please visit that. If you are watching the show on YouTube, thank you for watching it. Well, thank you for watching it on YouTube, obviously. But if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do, because that's good for all sorts of YouTube analytics. And thank you guys for watching the show. I'm glad you guys are here. All right, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Today we are in Washington, D.C., and we are with Tyler Yzaguirre from the Second Amendment Institute. Before we shake hands, Tyler, I've got some Lead Slingers hand sanitizer, which we are going to apply. Two hands. It's watery.
Oh, jeez.
Whoops, I told you. Nobody believes it's watery.
Let that get deep into the cuts.
I know, right? It only burns for 14 seconds, and then it's okay.
They gotta come up with a non-burning version.
I think the burning part is the
It's the fun of it.
Right. It's the stuff that kills the germs. All right, let's drive around Washington, D.C.
Woo!
I am glad that we're driving away from the police officer that's been behind us for 10 minutes.
Yeah, they get a little sketchy around here.
There's a lot of sketchy around here.
There is, yeah.
A homeless guy, a guy in the street who's begging for stuff, came right up to the car, looked in the window, and walked right against my car. And I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna pull it, like pop the door open. But he did it to everybody else, so I don't feel special.
Yep,
so.
you gotta watch your six in this town, that's for sure.
You really do.
But you're in a good section right now because you're by the Capitol and by the train station and Supreme Court, so.
This is all cool stuff.
Oh yeah.
This is cool stuff. All right, let's talk about you. Let's talk about how you get into gun stuff, how you started the Second Amendment Institute. We'll talk about your book. We'll talk about all sorts of stuff.
Oh, I love talking. Most people know that.
Yeah.
Cheryl taught that.
Gun Freedom Radio.
Oh God, I love that woman. She's great.
She's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I started a gun club in college, and we brought in Katie Pallage from Fox News, and you know,
dude, like right off the bat, you're
2015.
Going for the big fishes. That's
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, and then I tried to get money for ammo from the university. They didn't want to let me, so
Shocking.
I threatened to sue, and they wrote me a $500 check to Cabela's for ammunition. And that was my first taste of national news. That was fun.
That is cool.
University's glad they're rid of me.
Right. Do they not send you the alumni emails?
I get nothing from UD. Nothing.
Perfect.
Which is great. You know, Joe Biden's alma mater, even better. And then graduated, and I wanted to keep the gunfight going, so I looked into starting a nonprofit, which is what I did. I started the Second Amendment Institute, and here I am today, 5 years later.
That is so cool, man.
Yeah, we actually just had our 5-year anniversary.
Nice.
In June in D.C. at Harry's. Lauren Boebert came out and spoke.
Wow.
Yeah, so she
that is cool.
Endorsed us and everything, and she's a Spitfire, so one of my favorites.
That's cool. So did you grow up hunting and shooting?
I did.
So you grew up in Delaware?
I did not touch a gun until I turned 21.
Really?
Yep, went out, bought my first handgun. I didn't go out and get drunk. I went out and bought a gun. Went to the range, and
what did you buy?
P95 Ruger.
Nice.
Old school, 9mm.
Old school. Those are big.
They are big.
Yeah.
They're chunky. You know, they have a nice grip to them there.
That's cool.
Is this, when's the last time you were in D.C.?
Oh. I don't know. I don't know. It's before the pandemic. I came
down in 2018 when you had the Hell 10 celebration.
Right, that was good.
And I think I've been down. I think I came down in 2019 to interview some of the DC Project ladies.
Another great organization.
Yes, and I think that's the last time I've been down to DC.
Well, it's changed a lot with COVID and all that. For sure.
I was wondering if everyone are pro masks or if they wear the masks.
It's a 50-50 at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was a little concerned about that.
Good thing we have our gun rights, because you never know.
Right.
It took me much longer than usual to get my concealed carry license, but I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Cover my address here, but
that is so cool.
There it is. It's real.
Oh my gosh.
DC is shall issue, so
that's good.
Friendlier than Maryland.
Did you know about the Emily Miller book?
Yes, Emily Miller, and she's a good friend of Dick Heller's too.
Yeah.
I've only met Emily twice. Once at CPAC, once with Heller.
Gotcha.
But good book to read for sure.
Yeah, so she's got a book. It's called Emily Gets Her Gun, but Obama Wants to Take Yours.
Yep.
And I remember reading it, and it was interesting because it was her story about how she ended up getting her permit after the Heller decision, but it was also interjected with people that have been arrested in DC for illegal possession.
Yep.
Like illegal possession of a high cap magazine, illegal possession of a handgun as they're traveling through DC.
And we have to remember, DC wasn't shall issue until 2017. The Wren v. DC decision, which George Lyon, who's one of our attorneys for SAI, was a plaintiff of as well.
That's cool.
And the court, district court said no more good reason clause, so now DC is shall issue.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's the process that you have to do in order to get a permit in DC?
It's about 16 hours. You gotta take a 4-hour law class, 2 hours at the range for a test, and then 10 hours of classwork.
Wow.
And then you submit all the paperwork and documentation, and you wait about 6 months, and you get your concealed carry license.
And how much does it cost?
A good class will go for about $350.
Wow. And then how much for the permit?
You have to register the firearm, which is $39. You have to submit the form, which is $45. So you're looking at, and then if you get your gun transferred into DC, you're looking at another $150. So you're at almost $700 for this permit.
It is ridiculous. I'm a firm believer that when they put all of these infringements, all of these hoops you have to jump through, it discourages people from doing it. In Massachusetts, you take a 4-hour, oh God, I hate saying this, a 4-hour non-live firing class is the minimum, which oftentimes is the maximum that people take. And they will, they'll take the 4-hour non-live firing class, and then of course think they're good to go. Then they spend $100 on the permit and all of the necessary nonsense. Can we turn here?
Yes, you can.
All right, we are. And then all the necessary nonsense. For that, I don't know where we're going, but that's all right.
You're good.
It's good. And then you have to, in Massachusetts, there are mostly private clubs, so you have to join a shooting range.
Really?
Sportsman's club, yeah. And then that's a couple $100, and then you got the cost of a gun and ammo and all your safety gear. So it's still $700-800 up to $1,000 to get yourself up and going to.
Now is Massachusetts shall issue or may issue?
It is may issue.
Okay.
The way it works in Mass is if your chief of police doesn't want people to carry, then he can put restrictions on the licenses.
Oh, that's lovely.
Even though they call it a license to carry, you might have some restrictions, which is crap.
You want to hit a right for the Capitol?
Right here?
Yep.
Right. So it's a little ridiculous. 10 hours of class time.
And you would still be denied.
Really?
Oh, no, not in DC. I thought you meant Massachusetts.
No. So Massachusetts is 4 hours non-live firing. It really is the minimum of stuff. And I talk to friends from around the country, and they're like, "Whoa, Massachusetts is an anti-gun state." I'm like, "Yeah, it is, but 4 hours non-live firing," and they're like, "Well, that's crazy." I'm like, "I know."
And then of course,
don't tell anyone.
with DC concealed carrying, there's so many rules and restrictions where you can carry, where you can't carry. You know, as we're getting closer to the Capitol here, you know, I can't carry, you know, on the sidewalk or on the street adjacent to the Capitol or any House buildings or Senate buildings.
Oh my gosh.
So you can't carry on the Metro. I mean, you gotta, you know.
It's a lot of restrictions.
There are.
Maybe
there
it's
are.
10 hours of places you can't carry. You're not, are you a resident of DC?
I am. I go between DC and Delaware.
Gotcha.
So I've got the dual residency thing going.
Gotcha.
But yep, been in DC since 2017.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool, man.
It's expensive, but
Oh my god, I can't.
probably like Boston, but
I live out in the middle of nowhere.
oh, it's even better.
It is. I don't think I could afford to live in Boston right now.
I can't afford to live in DC, but I figure it out.
Right. Yeah. I moved out of living in Boston in 1998. I think it was. I think it was 1998. I moved out, met a girl, did all that sort of stuff, and but I was paying $700 a month for an apartment, for a one-bedroom apartment.
Jeez.
And I thought it was a lot of money then, but I was young and I didn't have. I don't want to say I was young and carefree, but I was young and didn't have responsibilities. So anyway, that's all right.
Well, here you are doing your show.
I
That's all that
know.
matters.
I love it. I dig it. I dig it.
Interesting thing about the Capitol, when you get closer to these buildings,
Yeah.
they don't allow certain vehicles. I mean, you're good to go straight.
Good to go until the
straight.
drone shoots us.
Yeah, pretty much. Or the cops swerve out and stop you, but
Right.
no, you're good. I tried bringing a moving truck here once with equipment for the DCV Heller 10-year anniversary rally at the Supreme Court,
Yeah.
and I tried coming this way in the truck, and like 10 cops swarmed me with their lights on.
Wow.
Yeah, they're serious about it.
They're not fooling around.
And the bomb sniffing dog comes on, and
Holy moly.
yeah, I would not carry around here whatsoever.
Jeez.
And what's interesting is members of Congress can carry,
Right.
you know, but it's weird. So, you know, they can carry on federal in the House building in the Capitol Dome, but they can't carry in DC unless they get a DC concealed carry license. So it's like there's just so much nonsense that goes on with it. And interestingly enough, that rule for members to carry is set by the Speaker. It's not set by a federal statute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the Speaker of the House will direct the police what to do. And in this case, Pelosi is, because a lot of members carry on the Hill, Pelosi has not changed that rule, thankfully.
Wow.
One of the few good things she's, if that, have done.
Few.
You'll see on here is the Senate buildings on the left and the House buildings on the other side. But it's certainly an interesting place to live in and, you know, carry in. And if you hit a right here, you'll hit the Supreme Court, actually.
Oh, cool.
And the
Let's do
Library of
this.
Congress.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
We got the dash cam going.
And obviously I cannot carry in those, buildings
yeah.
since they're federal buildings, unfortunately. I would not try carrying into any of these buildings.
So when I was down here for Heller 10, I was hanging out with Amanda Suffecool, who's a really good
Another
friend.
great person.
She is. And I have riding shotgun with Charlie credit card knives. And I forgot that I had one in my wallet.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Which building did you try to go into?
The Capitol.
Oh, yeah.
So
They'll get you for that.
yeah, so she went in and then I went in and I knew what they were taking. I forgot that I had it in my wallet. But they pulled my stuff out. They grabbed her. They're like, ma'am, you need to separate from this man right now. Whoa. She had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know what you guys are looking for. And they're like, we have to confiscate this. I'm like,
Man, you're lucky it was a knife and not a gun.
oh, no kidding.
Jeez.
No kidding. I took it outside. I put it on a railing by a trash can. And I figured I could possibly get it later, but it was gone.
Of course it was.
We were just going in to go to the bathroom. All right, so here's the Supreme Court.
To the left, Capitol to the right.
Very cool.
Left up front is Library of Congress. Interesting fact for tourists. You can actually, when you tour the Library of Congress,
Yeah.
you have to go in up the stairs and you go behind plexiglass. Well, you can get what's called a reader's card. And you just got to be a student or a researcher. They don't check. And you can get a card that actually lets you go on the Library of Congress and go through the resources in the books.
Really?
Yep.
That is pretty wild.
And in front of us we have Cannon. It's one of the house buildings. There's 4 house office buildings. Down the street you got Longworth, and I think Rayburn as well. But
This is
I mean,
cool.
you live here long enough, you should learn the house buildings, you know.
Right. It's all a big Michigan.
And this street goes down to the museums.
Cool.
So I mean, you're in the heart. We're in the heart of DC right now.
This is pretty cool.
Now I've heard that some museums will let you check your firearm if you have a concealed carry license. Yes, but I don't know which ones, and I don't want to find out.
Right. Yeah. There's stuff you don't want to know. Yeah.
Now I can get my knife through the metal detectors.
Really?
Yeah, I wear a big metal belt. So what I'll do is I'll go through with my jacket on, my knife in the pocket. Go through, it goes off. Take off my jacket, roll up my jacket under my sleeve. They do the wand, and they see it's the belt. Problem solved. So you got.
Little did you know, kids.
You gotta be on your toes. I mean, I prefer to bring pepper spray in because I think pepper spray is more effective than a knife.
Yeah. The winner of a gunfight goes to the hospital.
Yeah.
Or sorry, the winner of a knife fight goes to the hospital. Yeah.
You both go to the hospital. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one goes to the morgue, the other one goes to the hospital.
Got the botanical gardens in front of us here.
Cool. This is pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, so tell us a little bit more about SAI. It's a nonprofit group. You guys hold a bunch of events. You get all sorts of cool people to come to these events.
Yeah, cashing in my chips after the years of building up credibility.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we've been around for 5 years, and you know, we do a lot on college campuses, a lot of education.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of, you know, online advocacy work as well.
Yeah.
You know, we do events with, you know, Lauren Boebert, Dick Heller, Alan West, Thomas Massey, you know, the Magnificent Seven. And we just try to get the word out and try to change the hearts and minds of people, just to be like, because we come from an educational approach, we're not a political approach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wish we had this spread like organizations like the DC Project, like one in every state.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's doing what I can do, and people like you and others help me out, and it gets the word out. That's all that matters, really.
Yeah. Yeah, this is cool. I know we've been talking about this for a while.
Yeah, we probably 2 years now.
It has been a couple
And I
years.
see you at all these events too. I saw you at the DC Project
event, CNFJO.
Yep. And then I saw you at the machine gun shoot. And
oh yeah, Josh Prince's machine gun shoot last year.
That was fun as well.
That was pretty cool.
But that's what we do, and I love doing it.
That's awesome. That is awesome. How often do you guys talk to college students?
Before COVID, we were on college campuses a lot more, obviously.
Yeah.
But COVID kind of hit us hard, and we weren't able to get on colleges as much. But come next year, 22, we will be getting on campuses again and
Very
doing
cool.
recruitment and, you know, education and safety and etc.
That's cool. And all of this stemmed. I'm amazed is all of it stemmed from starting a rifle shooting class in college.
Yeah, students for the Second Amendment. We were an educational advocacy organization. Grew to about 120 students by the time I left.
Wow.
Yep. Katie Pavlich, we had 350.
That's cool.
And protested by BLM. So the pictures look great.
Shocking, right?
And then the ammo was near the end of my senior year, and
yeah, nice little legacy.
yeah.
Is the what's the gun culture like in Delaware?
If you're in northern Delaware where Joe Biden's from, it's 50-50, but the more south you go, the better it gets, except for the beaches.
Right.
But middle and lower Delaware are pretty gun friendly.
That's cool.
Yeah. DC, not too much.
Right.
As you can imagine.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, it's been a great journey, and I look forward to keep doing it.
The school, the group from college, are they still around? Are they still?
They are. They're not as active, obviously, because of COVID and whatnot.
Right.
And I don't think any president since me has had the same drive. I was always willing to fight with the school, and these, you know, other presidents have been less, you know, willing to fight against the university. But
right. Yeah, it's always kind of tough that you're giving these people money so you can get an education, and then you want to argue with them about start, having a rifle club. And
it's funny. So each club gets, $500 a semester to spend.
Yeah.
So a couple students that I knew started a club called Students for the Third Amendment, and they just went out and bought dinners, and that's all they did. Took the money and went and bought food. That was pretty much it.
Students for the
Third Amendment. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty clever.
So refresh my memory. What's the Third Amendment here?
You cannot safe quarters.
Oh yes.
For military.
Right. Did they go out to eat, or did they eat
They
at
did.
home?
We did a few. We went out a few times to some bars and whatnot.
Gotcha. Seems like maybe you should want to eat at home if it's.
We went out and ate dinners.
You're housing each other.
To our left, we have right in front of us the Holocaust Museum.
Wow.
And then to the front right, we've got the Washington.
The Washington Monument.
Another interesting fact about the Washington Monument is it was being built during the Civil War.
Yep.
So a third of the way up, the colors of the bricks change. And it's because they ran out of the original materials they were using to build the Washington Monument with.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I did not know that. And there's no building that can be taller than that, right?
Correct. The Washington and the Capitol are the two tallest. And the third is actually the post office, which is where the Trump Hotel is, and it's ran by the Park Service, and you can go up the elevator all the way to the top, and you're as high as the Washington and the Capitol.
Oh, wow. That's pretty wild.
Little tidbits.
It's a little known fact there, Cliffy. That's cool.
Man, I could be doing these bus tours.
You could be doing these bus tours, If SAI needs more money, you can do the bus tours.
Yep.
Oh, that's horrible. All right, can we turn here?
We can.
All right. Well, obviously not with the people in the way, but
DC has a lot of tight turns.
It is it's supposed to look like a pentagon, right? Or pentagram.
It's a lot of circles and squares. So the guy who designed DC
wasn't he a Mason?
Charles Lafont. Yeah, I think he was a Mason.
I think he was a Mason,
and all he got was a metro station named after him. But
that's it.
That's it.
What a bunch of bunk.
And Washington was the one who hired him.
Oh wow. Hey, the bricks are different, aren't they?
They are. So this is the National Mall. This is you got the museums. You got right in front of us is the African American Museum. There's just so much
stuff here.
All the food trucks. Some good food trucks.
That's cool.
The road we're on now is the only time I saw Trump in the motorcade driving by. They had the whole street shut down with the ambulances and the motorcycles, and
cool.
It was a sight to behold.
I'm sure. All right, so you wrote a book recently.
I did.
First of all, what inspired you to write the book?
Gun Rights 101.
Gun Rights 101.
Forward by Alan West. It's on Amazon.com.
All right, how do you get Alan West to write the foreword to your book?
I've known Alan for a few years, and texted him and said, "Hey, I'm writing a book. You want to write the foreword?" And he goes, "Sure, I'd be honored." And I was like, "All right, cool." Couldn't think of anyone else better to write the foreword than Alan West.
Yeah, no kidding.
Lends a lot of credibility to my book. I think that's like 80% of the reason why people even buy the book is because his name's on it.
That's good marketing, right?
It is. And I was like, look, you got John Lott, who's this brilliant author, but his books are like scholarly level. They're hard to.
Oh my gosh.
Hard to read.
Yeah, they're hard to digest.
So
a lot of stats, a lot of information in his
It is. So I was like, all right, there's no centralized book with lies debunked that are easy to follow. Supreme Court cases. I've got. Hello. This is the #1 copy, by the way. The first copy.
Very cool.
Yeah. So in here you got like broken down. You've got the AR-15 lies, constitutional right lies, the hard data, landmark decisions, Bill of Rights, and for the landmark decisions, I start off with what's called bullet points, and they're actual bullet points.
That's awesome.
So
got some real bullets on, not real bullets, obviously, but pictures of bullets.
Heller, McDonald, and Catano are in the book. So people can just...
Catano was the case from Massachusetts, right? Yeah,
it was.
It was the right to be able to have a taser this is what boggles me. And again, being from Massachusetts, it's what bothers me and aggravates me. The Massachusetts Supreme Court came out and said that the Constitution protected tasers, which run off of electricity, which they didn't even have electricity, yet the Attorney General that we have in Massachusetts banned people from being able to own and produce ARs. Like, wait a second. How does the Second Amendment not apply to an AR, but the Second Amendment applies to an electric taser? Because we hear all the time from folks that if there's a what do we hear? We hear that the Second Amendment was for muzzleloaders.
Yeah, well, you can, if that's the argument, then you can say, well, then, you know, the First Amendment only applies to quills and parchment paper.
Exactly.
So,
manual operated printing press.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. But that was a good case that people need to be, you know, aware about. And I put it all in the book, and you know, it's important to know this stuff.
Yeah. So the book is how to fight back against the
firing back against gun control's biggest lies. So if someone's like, for example, you know, they say, oh, the AR and AR-15 stands for assault rifle, and be like, no, it stands for Armalite, the company that which first developed them. All guns should be registered. You can be like, well, registration is a precursor to confiscation.
Right.
You know, just like quick comebacks are in the book.
So I give people this when I teach classes. I ask them what AR stands for, and oftentimes we hear it stands for assault rifle and automatic rifle. And I tell them AR does not stand for those two. I tell them it does not stand for American rifle. It does not stand for anxiety reducer. It does not stand for a-hole remover. And it does not stand for anti-riot.
No, it does not.
But when there's a riot and you bring out an AR, oftentimes the riot will disappear.
It will.
Therefore, it is an anti-riot rifle.
Well, we just saw what happened with Rittenhouse, too.
Yes.
And that was huge.
That was a big decision. A lot of stuff about that. You know, I came down to Virginia recently and filmed some shows, and on my way back, I stopped in gas. I think it was somewhere in Maryland, and I ended up listening to a radio show, and it was a talk station, and these guys were talking about how the Rittenhouse case. The Rittenhouse case was a racial thing, and there was a 17-year-old black guy in the street with an AR, the cops would have shot him, and all sorts of stuff like this. You know, Rittenhouse has got the white privilege, and I called in, and they're like, you know, none of these guys were threatening him, and the guy didn't even have a gun, and there was an active shooter, and I'm like, you guys I called in. I did call in. I got so worked up. I called in, and I'm like, you guys, like, all this stuff that you're talking about, all the things that you're bringing up, all these points that you think are home runs.
Valid.
Yeah, it's all ridiculous. It's all ridiculous. It's all wrong. And then they end up hanging up on me, which
of course they did.
Which often happens. But yeah, it's a bit
well, we just had a similar case where the black kid used an AR-15 to defend himself, and he was found not guilty on all charges too.
Right.
So,
and that was going on at the exact same time the Rittenhouse case was, but nobody heard about the other case.
All eyes focused on Rittenhouse.
Yeah.
Of course.
And then, this is a little frustrating. I do remember reading, I hate saying I don't remember the name of the guy, the name of the man, but supposedly, I think I heard he was a felon and wasn't supposed to possess anything, so they were going to get him.
Oh, the one that attacked Kyle?
No. The black guy that used a gun. Yes, and of course I'm at that point in my life where I'm like, I don't really know if I believe this in the news. You know, I don't know if I'm going for this. He was acquitted of the charges, but there were oh my gosh, what was it? They're going to get him for illegal possession because he was a felon in possession of a firearm. Like,
so stupid.
Gosh, it is. It really is.
And you get people walking down the street like this.
I know.
As well in DC. A lot Little do you know, you're on the show right now.
I know.
You should put her in. This is how oblivious people are in DC.
Completely oblivious. Completely oblivious.
But no, DC is great. We got all the monuments. We got all the history.
Yeah.
Got a lot of places, good places to eat. You know.
Very cool. This is fun being here. I think it's pretty cool. I'd like to,
Well, thankfully you're not driving during rush hour. Otherwise it'd be a lot more annoying.
I'm sure it would be.
You came in at a pretty good time, honestly.
In between the holidays, not a lot of traffic.
Best way to do it.
Bunch of walkers. That'll be all right.
Oh, man. Oh, there's a nice car.
That is a nice car. How do I get one of those?
Yeah, right.
How do we get a cool
Probably make
Corvette?
$1 million a year. I don't know.
I'd love to make
When's your show going to start bringing in that kind of money, Charlie?
This is what I want to know. This is what I want to know.
Can people donate to your show? Or can you just buy stuff?
People can buy stuff. I did set up a, oh my God, I set up a GoFundMe, but that didn't get any traction. I set up a, what's the other one that people do? The GoFundMe, a Patreon. I set up a Patreon, but I haven't done anything with it.
Well, everyone watching this episode should go and buy 25 patches.
Yes.
25 patches.
Get some T-shirts. I always tell
And
people
t-shirts.
this: if someone buys a T-shirt and they get a selfie of themselves someplace, they should put it on social media. They should tag me, send me their address. I'll send them a couple of stickers for free.
I will do that.
All right.
Another thing about DC, you got these nice historic churches.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
Right now we're heading into Northwest.
Dude, I have no idea where we're at. I have no idea how to get back to where we're going.
Well, that's why you got me.
I have no idea where we're going.
That's what I love about the show. You just keep going.
Yeah, rock and roll, man. I love it when people get in the car. They're like, "All right, so do you have do you have somewhere planned out to drive?" And
Nope.
No, just get in the car. I drive. Like if you know where we are, you give me some directions. If you don't know where we are, we'll just drive and pull up the GPS and go back.
I remember DC wasn't originally this big either. It's grown a lot over the years. And the location was actually fought over by Hamilton, and who wanted it in the north, and then Jefferson, who wanted it in the south. And Washington was like, well, screw you guys, we're putting it right here in between Maryland and Virginia.
There we go. I have and part of my psyche is Virginia doesn't. I don't know if Virginia qualifies to be in the South. Does it?
Depends where you are and who you're talking to. That's what it comes down to.
All right. I will go with that. That seems to make sense because it doesn't seem south to me. But again, being from Massachusetts.
And Richmond was the capital of the Confederacy, so.
All right. Maybe. I talked to some people from Massachusetts and they think Philly's in the South.
That's weird.
Yeah, I know, right?
Interesting thing about Philly is if you have a concealed carry license, you can open carry in Philly. Pennsylvania is open carry except for the city of Philadelphia. Except if you have your concealed carry license, then you can open carry in Philly, which I do not suggest.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
Feel free to conceal carry there. That's what I do.
I don't have a Philly permit.
It's easy to get. You have one from Massachusetts?
Of course.
Go to any sheriff's department,
office, right?
In Pennsylvania. And
see, that's the problem. The few times I've been through Pennsylvania, I try to find someplace. I try to find a sheriff's office in the area where I'm going to, and I'm going to say the last time I went to Pennsylvania, I looked into it again, and the sheriff's office said they weren't doing walk-in stuff.
Of course not.
And they weren't like meeting people in person. So
gotta love that.
This is ridiculous.
It is.
So
well, when I scheduled my appointment to do my license, it was like at 2 o'clock, and I didn't get seen till like 4 o'clock.
Oh,
so it just goes to show you how behind they are.
Yeah, that's nuts. That is nuts.
Let's see, we're on K Street and 14th. I know where we are. A lot of big lobbyists on this K Street.
Really?
Yeah, K Street is known for the lobbyists.
Gotcha. So they like have offices here, and
yep, they do.
It's where they take people out and wine and dine them to get them to throw money and vote their way.
Exactly.
I'd like to have enough money to throw around.
I just buy more guns, honestly.
Right.
That's all I would do. Yeah, one time I was actually driving through DC with my guns in the trunk, and this is when I had my license plate that said gun dude. And of course I was by the White House, and the Secret Service cop pulls up behind me. I was like, well, I'm gonna get pulled over. That's great. Yikes. But I didn't, thankfully. But scary heartbeat moment there for a second.
Yeah.
As you can imagine.
I would freak out. I would freak out.
So right now we're heading back to, that's the Holocaust Museum down there.
Okay.
So if you want to get back into more center DC, let's see where we're at. Because most of DC is all squares.
Right.
So it just depends where you're at. Let's see. Ocean Prime is good. But no, living in the district with the firearms and concealed carry licenses, some responsibility.
It's a huge,
for sure.
It sounds like, I don't want to say a bigger responsibility, because you have a tool with you, but the places you can go and you can't go, and holy moly, that's got.
And I like to partake in an adult beverage now and then, and you can't do that while you're carrying, nor should you.
Right.
You know, so that's always tricky
always
too.
An issue. I always tell people if I'm going someplace and I know I'm going to be having more than my share of adult beverages,
you just don't carry.
Right, I just don't carry. And I said I just take knives in with me. And
knives, pepper spray, taser.
Right. And I say if you order a steak, a lot of places will give you a knife.
And you're good.
So, rock and roll.
Let's see where Hamilton.
Not that the knife would be sharp, but
unless it's a steak knife.
And the steak knife's a little bit sharper.
Throw it.
Yeah, you could throw it.
So what kind of food do you like? Gotta show you a good place in DC for some food.
So I am.
Oh, here we go.
One of my friends likes to say I have the palate of a college student.
Well, that's a good thing.
It is. So I'm not. I don't think I'm fussy, but there's not a lot of, like, if somebody wants to go to a real Mexican restaurant, then I'm like, yeah.
Well, I can take you to.
Like I'm going to get an upset stomach.
I can take you to DC's conservative dive bar if you want to go there.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yep, right across the street from the Trump Hotel.
All right, very cool.
Yep, Harry's it's got all the police badges, and you know the owner is a big-time conservative, big-time gun owner. It's where it's a friendly place for conservatives and gun owners to go.
Cool. I think that sounds like an awesome place.
So you're gonna want to, let me think now. Pull it up on my phone, the little cheat sheet here.
I think the big question is, are we gonna be able to find some place to park?
Yes. Lots of street parking by there.
All right. Does it cost an arm and a leg?
No.
Or just an arm?
Just an arm. So we're heading back to Constitution, so that actually works.
All right, lead the way.
I shall.
All right, let's wrap things up before we go grab a bite at Harry's.
Sure.
How can people find SAI, Second Amendment Institute?
So sainational.org.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the gun book, it's going to be Amazon.com, Gun Rights 101.
Yep.
And it'll come up right away.
Okay.
This is how they can do it.
Do you sell books right from the SAI website?
You can go on the SAI website and buy books as well.
Yeah.
But Amazon or email me at tyler@sainational.org.
Okay.
And I'll hook you up.
Very cool.
Yep.
Very cool. We got the book. We'll put the book up one more time. This has been awesome.
I dropped it.
That's all right. We'll leave that in.
Makes it even better.
Right.
Unedited.
Well, relatively unedited. All right, well, listen, thank you so much for being on the show. This is awesome. Thank you very much. While we're here at the stop sign, we want to make sure that you support the Second Amendment Foundation, SAF.org, their sister group, the Citizens' Right to Keep and Bear Arms, the CCRBKA.org. You can find all of your favorite pro-freedom podcasts at the SDRN.US, which is the Self-Defense Radio Network. I want to thank you guys for watching Riding Shotgun with Charlie and for listening to the show on podcast form. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do. And we will see you guys next time.
as we take the stagecoach across America.